If you're looking for Magic cards, look no further than Flipside Gaming. They have all the latest Magic singles and product that you need to actually leave the house and battle in Magic the Gathering. And right now, if you would like to save 10% on your orders from Flipside Gaming, use the promo code CGB at checkout. That is promo code CGB. Okay, is this on? Yeah. So we're back here. We're taking a look at our Jund Chainwhirler deck in best of 3. We got that event to finish up, so making a video here just for the folks who are interested in seeing that deck work. It's awesome to have a turn 1 Shiv and Fire for Llanowar Elves. If we've got to be on the draw, let's be on the draw with removal, so that our opponent can't start the Stampede and just overrun us here. Amara. So that's interesting. Our opponent elf into Amara. Haven't quite seen anything like that yet. But there's Lava Coil, and so far we are kill it, kill it. We are that deck. The deck that allows nothing fun to happen. Growth Chamber Guardian with a tap land. That would have been something very nice to kill. Now our opponent can basically 4/4 up, and our Goblin Chainwhirlers are going to have to hold it down. The other option is Rixmati Reveler here, but I think I like just getting the Chainwhirler on the battlefield and try to build a first strike wall against the Wild Growth Guardians. Next, I may play the Daredevil. The opponent attacks in. They can adapt in response, so it would be pretty silly to block with Goblin Chainwhirler there. And this lets the opponent have a 4/4 and get the beat down on. It does eat their whole turn. Okay, they're banned. So I could make the first strike wall, or I could do something like, say, play another Chainwhirler and a tap land and get him for damage. Racing a deck like this is a little interesting and a bit awkward. Direfleet Daredevil, I don't know if or when it can target anything. Although targeting March of the Multitudes would be interesting. I don't want to Revel yet. This is definitely the kind of hand reload I want for later. So are we the beatdown or not? We're the one at 14. I actually do think I need to play this Chainwhirler and kick back and be defensive. Which, the other thing I could have done is wait for a status statue, which is what I was also thinking about, and I could play the Daredevil to be my first strike wall and wait for the Plague Wind style combo. That might have been the better idea. It's tough. It's tough to say. The opponent's going to basically get a 4/4 army. The board is going to get really gummy, so that might be the only way we really had to get back in the game. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep deploying. Now, I don't know if I can get Spectacle for this Reveler. Because of that, I think I'm better off just sending away this land right now. Okay, that's a flyer. That might prove to be a big problem for the opponent. The opponent's just on the Guardian plan. They're not going to stray from plan of Guardians here. But right now they do have to get rid of 2 first strikers to have profitable attacks. And here is our Phoenix. And we'll see if the opponent brought anything to deal with the Phoenix. I'm going to keep playing my lands out. If I have an empty hand, the Reveler can draw a card there. Okay, Tristani. I mean, those can attack. I don't know if that's going to do what the opponent wants to do, unless they have another pump spell of some kind. So, they might have a Pride of Conquerors, something along those lines. So if they do that and I block like this, I can kill off the Guardian. And then I can also block here. If they have Pride of Conquerors, I won't kill this one, but I'm only taking 5 damage, so I think this is where I want to be. Okay. Is there a trick? They did that to get 5 damage through? Okay. Another Daredevil. We still haven't seen anything in our opponent's graveyard or anything that appears like it's going to be something we can kill. So let's send in the Phoenix. Let's play another first striker. Now, these can gang up and take down 2 Guardians without even taking a point of damage. All right. Our opponent seems to have exhausted themselves a bit. 2 Guardians are dead. They have no more to search for. They played Tristani. They're down to 1 card. And First Strike seems to have absolutely taken over this game. Here is a good draw. A Siege Gang Commander can end the game next turn if left unchecked. We can do 6 damage to face along with an attack from Rekindling Phoenix. I mean, the opponent had a lot of creatures, but we didn't see a payoff other than Tristani. Part of me wonders if this is a pod deck and a Johnny deck or what else is going on. All right. And that's an attack into a scoop. So let's sideboard for game 2. What do we want against this? More Shivan Fires, of course. Eldest Reborn looks like it would just hit a token and isn't very good. And since we saw all creatures duress isn't good, and with the body's on the battlefield, Legion Warboss isn't very good. How about Treasure Map? So far, I've made a habit of adding Treasure Map to the deck to make it more grindy and replacing the Rixmati Revelers. I think that trend should continue. I think we want to be more controlling in this matchup for sure. And this other Eldest Reborn can come out. We already identified it's not great for the matchup. So now we have Shivan Fires. The First Strikers definitely held their own. It might be possible we'd rather have Rixmati Reveler, but with how the First Strikers just kind of held the opponent's creatures off, and they didn't show us any removal, I think that's where we would like to be. And yeah, I think that there isn't too much to worry about otherwise. We have Find and Finality. If we draw a green source, that's good. We have an early removal and a Siege Gang. This hand could flood, but I will give it a try. No elves this time. There's Status Statue. First time we've seen that. So if we draw a Goblin Chainwhirler, you might see an epic combo. Incubation Druid. Let's get that off the battlefield immediately. The opponent has so many things that we want to kill as quickly as possible. We have a serious risk of just falling behind here, and our Siege Gang commanders won't be any good, but wow, no plays. So we drew the combo. So I'm going to just hold on to that. I wonder if it's a Frilled Mystic deck. That would be annoying, but we have a lot of Chainwhirlers. Okay, the opponent didn't play anything. Now they're a Planeswalker deck. Interesting. Wouldn't Eldest Reborn be right about good here? We didn't draw the land for the Siege Gang Commander, which is a bit of a tragedy. I think that this might just be an experiment in transformational sideboarding from the opponent, where they're an all-creature deck that turns into an all-Planeswalker deck. Maybe they even have counter spells or control. We should play it out and try to see as much of their deck as we can. Okay, now they have Conclave Tribunal. We don't need another one of those, do we? Well, I don't have a choice. It's time to use Chainwhirler. Fortunately, we do have another one if the opponent suddenly explodes a million creatures onto the battlefield.
Keep up the pace.
So, all we saw last game were creatures. And now we see a Hydroid Crassus, which is a very large creature, gaining life, drawing a bunch of cards. It's really tough to sideboard against a deck like this because you don't really know what's going to happen. So I can't Chainwhirl or end Lava Coil. I think I have to do the combo, which is not ideal. So this resolves. You have to put on full control mode so that your own trigger goes on the stack. and then you can do status, Deathtouch, submit, resolve.
I won't let you win.
Too bad it does not also kill the hero of Dominaria.
Time for plan B.
Deputy of Detention to take away both Chainwhirlers is interesting. If the opponent can't protect that, the trigger will happen when it comes back, which does 2 more damage to Teferi. A Johnny.
You do not have to fight alone. See in yourself what I see in you.
Anything else? All right. That's the play. We don't really have other options.
No more. That did well.
Takes a chunk out of the Planeswalker loyalty, but not a lot else we can do. Finding there's no creatures, so. Deputy part 2, huh? And, okay, there's still Tristani in the deck. I still don't think Eldest Reborn will be good against the deck, even though the opponent played oddly, I would say, with, like, running Teferi into it, but they could have known that we sideboarded them out. I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm going to do for sideboard next game, because the deck's a bit bipolar. Maybe they just had a very particular draw this time out. Also, our draw's been completely uncooperative. Okay, they run Disdainful Stroke. Interesting. So now they have permission spells too. Seems like an objectively more powerful deck than ours.
Be strong.
Alright, the return of the Guardians, which was a big part of the last game. So this part of the game is information gathering. I'm just trying to figure out what my opponent has in their deck. That didn't work at all, so just show them the Lava Coil, see if we can get them to counter or play some other, like, counter magic, dive down, anything like that. And they didn't play it, which is totally fine, but I was curious. I was curious if they would be interested in such a thing. Alright, back to the sideboard against a very weird bipolar deck. So, I think Duress just got a lot better. Eldest Reborn got better, but does that mean we need it? I'm actually going to take out the Daredevils because I still didn't see anything I can bring back with them. Find Finality, you can also go, as there's just not much that's going to end up in the graveyard since it's all about cards like Deputy of Detention and Conclave Tribunal. And yeah, I think I'm going to try the rest like this. The Disdainful Strokes hit Rekindling Phoenix, Eldest Reborn, Siege Gang Commander. Hopefully Duress hits the Strokes. So, alright, let's roll. The opponent was ready very quickly, which tells me they're not like doing a full transformation from control to back to aggro if they ever were that kind of thing. Hand doesn't have Duress. It does have the treasure map. And it has a removal spell, so I think we stick with it. The combo with Chainwhirler and Status Statue is still even more interesting with Deputy of Detention, so I'm going to stick with that too. Let's mark next turn's upkeep for a little treasure map stop. Trying to make sure our draws are good. We're going to kill that. I would love to have a shock though, or something like it. Another land. I think that I'm at risk of flooding, so I'm going to bottom that right now. And I remain at risk of flooding. Let's go ahead and Lava Coil away the Growth Chamber Guardian. Here is an elf. Is there another land? There is. Okay, I need to play the Phoenix this turn, just to keep my opponent off balance from running out a Teferi or an Ajani. So that's where we're going. Phoenix to the battlefield. Then we'll mark the upkeep for a stop. We could draw Eldest Reborn or Siege Gang Commander, but I don't... There's only a couple of those in the deck, like 7. So I think that an upkeep scry is fine. Here's the Conclave Tribunal. We do have the statue to get it back. So let's scry. Duress. Seems good. Question is, do we Duress now? Our opponent's missing a blue source. They might be sitting on Teferi. The other thing that we could do is statue and have this back to apply pressure and Duress next turn. But I'll really regret that if they land a Teferi. If they do land a Teferi, I can attack it, but I can't kill it. Not only that, I would have to take 2 damage. Just a little something. So let's see what's up here. A Baffling End, a Deputy of Detention, a Hydroid Crassus, and an Ajani. So let's take away the Ajani. Just take that option away. The Baffling End doesn't have a sweet target right now. And there's no blue source for the other 2 cards. And I can't take the creatures anyway. There's the damage. My turn. Let's see what we see with the map. Get it flipped. Again, trying to mitigate that flood. The deck wants to flood. We're trying to fight back. All right. Duress is in hand. Taking out the Baffling End, is that a priority? I feel like I could save this till I think my opponent has a Disdainful Stroke and be better off. So I'm going to try to ambush the Llanowar Elf. And here comes an attack. So we'll use Statue, take out the Conclave Tribunal, bring back the Rekindling Phoenix, block the Llanowar Elf, and now we have a Phoenix. The Baffling End won't deal with it. Let's try drawing a card with the map, since we're definitely... The deck is still trying to flood us, and we are fighting. We're fighting through it. Now, the opponent, if they find a way to kill this Rekindling Phoenix, can then Baffling End the egg, but I don't see anything they do that does that. Everything I've seen exiles. Tribunal exiles, Baffling End exiles, Deputy of Detention exiles, another Llanowar Elf. So they're really hurting for blue mana. Their 3-color deck is not functioning very well as a 2-color deck. Lava Coil. I think keeping that is a good idea, just because if the Deputy ever does come down, we want to deal with it. Let's also draw another card, as drawing some Siege Gang Commanders would be very nice. And we can play this commander. If the opponent wants to use a Baffling End on 1 token, that doesn't bother me. And the blue mana hath been found. Here is the Deputy. What is the target? The token. Interesting. So we can sacrifice that token if we're willing to give up the treasure, so that we don't lose our other tokens. Is that the right play? I think it is. I think it is. We give up a card, which can be a big deal, but I think the tokens are worth considerably more than that at this time. As next turn, I do have lethal. Now, the opponent needs to Baffling End away 1 of the tokens to keep the lethal from happening. There they go. So 4 mana to throw goblins. Opponent is at 8. Okay, it's still lethal, so we can just finish the job here. And the opponent sees it. We would attack with the Phoenix and fling both goblins. So opponent with a rough draw there in the last game. Not sure what was up with their draw in the first game. Our sideboarding was a bit off, I would say, but we turned it around in time. I can keep this hand and revel away a find and possibly have a decent draw. We do have a removal spell and a Phoenix on the draw, so I'm going to try it. The double find finality is the awkward part. And now we have double Rixmati to kind of fix it. So that's something. Our opponent has a turn 2 Llanowar Elves. And we have a late Shivan Fire. I still think I should Shivan Fire the Elves. I think that's more important than playing a Reveler. We're a mid-range deck. We don't have to be rushing. And perhaps we're up against good old Golgari. It's going to be a grind. All right, sweet. We save the exile effect for the card that needs to be exiled. Unfortunately, now we're missing land. So that's unfortunate. I know I said unfortunately, and then that's unfortunate. You can tell my feels are strong about it. Let's play a Reveler. See what we hit. I could still discard the finality, the Find Finality that isn't doing much, but I could also discard a creature and then plan to get them back with Find Finality next turn. That's interesting, and probably better in the long run. Alright, we did hit the tap land, so that paid off a little. And no attacks, no sort of explore. So, would the opponent block with a Wild Growth Walker here? Probably. But it's worth a try. It might fear me having Spectacle. Alright, they take it. I don't want to use the Reveler's ability, though. I think better to play Rekindling Phoenix. It may get exiled here, which would be sad. The other option is to play this and just loot away a find, or another creature, and then find them back. Ooh, actually like that. So I don't like playing this into what looks a lot like a Vraska's Contempt. I think I want to try to draw it out of my opponent first. So we're going to play this without Spectacle. Discarding Siege Gang Commander. Another Phoenix. And now we can use Find. Get back our Siege Gang Commanders. We do have some issues with cards. I don't feel like... Well, land. Cards we have. Land we need. Okay, we drew one. The opponent is really chilling right now, which does feel a lot like Vraska's Contempt. Now that I have 2 Phenai, it may make more sense. I was hoping to draw out some of the removal. Here's a block. And here's some damage. Maybe our opponent's also on a finality, which, if that's the plan, then having a Phoenix on the battlefield is very good. Well, if they have a Contempt, they're obviously showing that they don't wish to use it. But maybe they would on a Siege Gang Commander if I'm patient. I'm not under pressure. Their hand is obviously shaky. I'm going to pass. I really think they have Vraska's Contempt, and I don't want to let them use it on a turn like this, which is exactly where you would want to cast the card. And they know about Siege Gang, so if they finality me here, so be it. Find can get it back. They don't know we have a second Find. So here we go. And your turn. Probably a finality, saving a Wild Growth Walker, but there's only one way to know. Make them have it. Make them do it. If they have spot removal, seeing it get used on the Siege Gang would be great. That's what you want to happen, but yeah, there's a finality. So we'll pay 2 and bring out a second Siege Gang Commander. We could also find, but I would love to find both Siege Gang commanders, so I'm going to leave this mana up to sacrifice Siege Gang if it gets targeted. There it is, Vraska's Contempt. So 2 damage to face, sacrifice my Siege Gang commander so it's safely in the graveyard to be brought back. Only 1 card left for the opponent. Is it something to deal with the Phoenix? I guess, you know, we may as well keep grinding with Siege Gangs. The Siege Gangs could be enough to win on their own. Each of them is an army and a can and a machine gun attached to a body. So if there's one more removal spell, we'll probably see it. From there, the opponent will need very fortunate draws to deal with Rekindling Phoenix at all. I'm actually going to swing. The opponent can kill 1, but getting 2 damage in here is about what we would expect for our Goblin Commandos anyway. If there is another finality about to sweep the board, let's at least get 2 damage out of the deal. There's a cast down. All right, bring forth another commander. It's interesting that we have all the Rixamati Revelers, by the way. It's a lot of 1/1s. It will require another board wipe. Here's the block. Commander, target the face, sacrifice this. And if we untap from this state, it's as easy as burning the opponent. So let's see. Branch Walker with some Explorer. All right, they finally got some Explorer going. And it hits a land. Last card. Does it kill things? What does it do, my precious? It is a Golgari Findbroker for a land or elf. The opponent was trying to put that play off for a long time, but we didn't really give them a good thing to do with it. And with our opponent at 7, we now have 8 mana. This is a bit easy. And the Siege Gangs and the Find Finalities did bring it. And even if they could have solved that, they'd be dealing with Phoenix. Now the good news is, our opponent never saw Phoenix, which means they may not prioritize leaving Vraska's Contempt in their deck when it doesn't really do well against Siege Gang Commander and Rixamati Reveler, which are value cards. So if they sub out Vraska's Contempt because we didn't show our Phoenix at all, that would be very good for us. So, do we duress the Golgari deck? It's always interesting. It's always interesting. I feel like Daredevil against the spells is probably very good. Using their own find seems very, very fun. What is bad against Golgari? The Chainwhirler combo is still very good. I feel like our deck is good against Golgari. The Deathtouch of Status Statue is, especially with Daredevil, helps us out a lot against Carnage Tyrant. I have always sideboarded in Treasure Map, but I actually think it's weaker against Golgari because of cards like Vivian Reed. So I don't even know that I need to change anything. I think I can pull out the Eldest Reborn. I don't think it's very good. And I think adding another Shivan Fire just keeps the opponent from running away on the game with their elves and their early nonsense. So other than that, I don't know that I need to rest. The opponent used a lot of removal spells, but I'm not very afraid of them. I think the deck can play as is, and we'll see how it goes. We'll get a feel for it. If you have feelings about what I should replace with Duress, maybe some of the Daredevils. That actually makes some sense to me. I don't think I want 4 duress, but I think having 2 just to take out like that last Vraska's Contempt or that last Find Finality is a good idea. All right. All right, game 2 on the draw. Hand is pretty meh. We do have Chainwhirler with Status Statue combo. We have Lava Coil with Rixmati Reveler. We have Find to put it together, but only 2 lands. I think we keep it, though. We might fall way behind to a turn 1 Llanowar Elf. Let's play the Cinder Barons, because it always comes into play tapped. Then we'll have to play Blood Crypt next turn, Craig the turn after that, and we're doing a 3-color Chainwhirler deck. Yay! I think I take damage for this Blood Crypt to get my Reveler going. The question is what to discard. I could also Lava Coil the Elf, but at this point I think I would like to Chainwhirler the Elf. Although maybe I'm supposed to hold my combo. If I play Chainwhirler though, my opponent will kill it. So we can find back the Chainwhirler later. So if I'm going to Revel, do I want to get rid of a land? Not really. I actually like everything about my hand, but I suppose getting rid of a Blood Crypt is I guess the wise-ish play. I may regret this. Okay, I don't regret this. I got rid of a land that would deal me damage to get a land that comes into play untapped and is painless. Alright, Chupacabra's here. Let's just hope that this Chainwhirler is not contempted. That is the fear. If that happens, I don't have my combo available anymore through Find Finality. And we're saying go. All right, 3 damage for 2 damage. Am I the beatdown? Unclear. I could Lava Coil the Chupacabra so it can't come back, but it feels like saving that for Midnight Reaper is wise. Okay, the opponent's blocking, so they must have a plan to get back their Chupacabra. Which, okay. We're both going to be here a while, I think. Let's get our grind on. Wildgrowth Walker has arrived. And that's it. No Jade Light? No Explore? It would appear not. Or maybe the opponent's just waiting to see if I play it, and now they're debating whether or not going for it is the right play. Another Reveler. Very good if we empty the hand. Let's send with Chainwhirler. The opponent's reluctant to kill it. Very reluctant to kill it. Let's play the Reveler. I'm not going to Spectacle it once again. I don't think I ever Spectacle the Reveler in this deck, which is kind of crazy. But in this case, I just want to drop off another Blood Crypt. Excellent. And do I want to Lava Coil a Wildgrowth Walker? Right now we're ahead on the board and things are going our way. I would rather Lava Coil a Midnight Reaper, but if we can do enough damage, I guess it's fine. So yeah, I'll take this out. Not let the opponent get that life gain and get back in the game that way, I think is a wise choice. That way we have pressure on them. They have a Carnage Tyrant. Okay. So, I think Status Statue to get through the Carnage Tyrant is completely reasonable. The opponent may not block, but let's find out. If they block the Reveler, we can put the status on it. Then Reveler dies, Carnage Tyrant dies, we get back 2 Revelers. Reveler can drop off a Lava Coil, since it doesn't have a good target at the moment. Opponent's really in the tank on this one. It is interesting. There's a lot of things that could happen. Ooh, blocking the Chainwhirler. All right. So we could let the Chainwhirler die, let the opponent play out more things, and then do the status statue trick. I'm kind of thinking my opponent has fine finality. This way we'd also get another Reveler back in our hand. But I don't really want to Revel this away. All right. I'm going to do the Deathtouch thing now, and I might have regrets. If my opponent does have another, like a find, then they basically can't play the Carnage Tyrant again that turn. They'll have to wait another turn. I can exile something. They'll probably get Chupa, eat my Chainwhirler. I can exile their Chupa, find back my Chainwhirler and my Reveler. Then they play Tyrant, and I guess I'm into trying to draw this card again. Okay, finality for the board. Instead of getting back Carnage Tyrant, I am fine with that. Give me back my Reveler. Give me back my Chainwhirler later. The Revelers might just be better to dig through the deck, because Chainwhirler is probably not going to hit anything. Another land. I could save it next turn for the other Reveler. I might also want to Spectacle next turn. I will play the land out. Eventually we'll probably need a 6th land anyway. Here's Cast Down. Our opponent knows about other Revelers, so they don't want to let us have any Spectacle. But getting Cast Down cast on that Reveler feels pretty good. Makes our finds better and better. Does the opponent have another find? Looks like they do. Yep. That's where you would have loved a Duress. Okay. Let's play a Reveler. The opponent has Assassin's Trophy or Cast Down based on this holding a priority. More land. Not great. So let's find the Chainwhirler and the Reveler. I'm going to try to play, I think I'm playing out this land. The idea is next turn, if my opponent plays Carnage Tyrant, I want to go Chainwhirler and Reveler, draw 3. We'll see. I could also just loot this land away now, but the draw 3 might really matter. I could also play the Chainwhirler now, but then if I draw a status statue, it's just too good, so I'll hold. This is an interesting little back and forth we're having. There's Carney T. There's... wow. So, full control mode. Let's go with red, red, and red. Goblin Chainwhirler. Resolve. Trigger on the stack. +1/+1 and Deathtouch. And there we go. And resolve. And now I can turn full control off by hitting the control button on the keyboard. And down goes Carney T. I think the opponent's going to untap and Chupa my Chainwhirler, but then we can Lava Coil the Chupa, hopefully get through with the Reveler, and Spectacle. The opponent might have a removal spell, though. We did say they probably have a Cast Down. Alright, Shivan Fire is perfectly serviceable, although I guess I want you exiled. We keep trying to save it for Midnight Reaper, but it might not be in the deck anymore. The opponent knows about second Reveler, so I expect them to kill this and not take damage. Never mind. Spectacle. 3 new cards, which I think is a good upgrade from a Shivan Fire in hand. Ooh, a Duress, and I didn't save a black mana. That's a my bad. That's what that is. Because otherwise, not a very good pull here. And if my opponent has another fine finality, it could be backbreaking. Let's see what's cooking. There's a good chance I don't actually hit, which is just the way it is now. Alright, they were holding on to this Contempt for a very long time. Okay. Well, the Duress did get their really, really good removal cards out of their hand. The problem now is top decking. We're both top decking. We have good top decks in Siege Gang. Our opponent has good top decks in a lot of things. I will hold this in case, well, drawing another Reveler seems unlikely, but you never know. Our opponent finds Seeker Squire. Seeker Squire sees Vivian Reed. That's a really good draw. And Rekindling Phoenix. Okay. We'll play that one. I think I'll hang on to the Lava Coil for a hot minute.
Come to me.
Let's see what you get, Viv. What do you got? Wildgrowth Walker. A Siege Gang Commander would be an amazing draw. If we draw that, life is good. Okay, 2 Phoenix. I think I go face. Vivian can minus to kill one on their turn, but this is just lethal. So I think that's what we go for. And I'm going to Lava Coil the Wildgrowth Walker to take away the option to gain life with it here. And cross your fingers. The opponent can draw a Chupacabra. If they draw that off the top, they can minus Vivian, then play Chupa, but they're not.
Stop nature.
So here's the +1. What does it find? There's the Chupa, but they needed that in their hand. Do they have 2 ways to hurt a Rekindling Phoenix? Yeah, no blocks. Get me back my Phoenix. The opponent says good game. I agree. It was a challenge. And that's the end. What a strange hand. If we draw land, it's good, and we have an early removal spell. I think this is one of those hands you keep and hope to get there. Feels really bad. If our opponent explodes onto the board, maybe Chainwhirler cleans it right up. We do have the combo, and our opponent has Terramander on 1. Alright, I'm going to draw very lucky. Let's just shoot this down, though, before anything bad can happen, like Dive Down and Curious Obsession and Chart a Course. So I'm just doing that now to make sure it resolves. Electromancer. Okay. I think I'll hold on to my Chainwhirler combo. There may come a good time for it. Yes, hello indeed. And we'll see what happens. Another Terramander. Okay. Anything else? No. All right. I think I'll see what happens if I go for this. Although 2 mana open, potentially 3, could be an Ionize. I think this gets like lava coiled and then the opponent plays some other stuff. But I guess, well, this is pretty tough. I want the creatures dead, though. resolved. Let's see if the opponent has a lightning strike in response, something like that. But I would love to take a shot at the Electromancer here. And we got the 4/4 Chainwhirler with the trigger on the stack. And there it goes. The Chains of Death. The opponent possibly contemplating what could have just happened to them. And now no effects. Looks like just the passing of the turn right now. What is in their hand that they had nothing with the 2 mana left over from last turn and this turn? Could be a number of things. And we know that they must play a high spell count or they wouldn't be playing these cards. It doesn't... Seems like if they had a bounce spell, they would have played it. If they had a burn spell, they might have played it. Maybe Shock is a card that's in the hand. Probably 1 Shock. And then what? Drakes would have been played, so maybe something like Niv or Ral, something expensive. All right, I'm going to go for the Phoenix. That resolves as well. Tapped Steam Vents. Go. What is happening? All right. Here comes my creatures. How much of this can you take? Perhaps the opponent is already in conserve information for game for game 2 mode. No plays. So it's been 2 plays, 2 full turn cycles, no plays. Crazy. Arclight, Phoenix. So now we know it's a Phoenix deck. Just a Phoenix deck with no spells. It's a little odd. A little odd to see. Maybe there's a lot of dive down going on here. If so, let's try a statue on it and see the dive down. A Spell Pierce. Okay. So Spell Pierce is a card in the deck. Let's try again. I think that just pushing damage on the opponent is the way to be here. Still think that a Shock makes a lot of sense as a card that they're holding on to. Okay, they found Opt off the top. Let's see where it leads. Bottom and draw. They have 2 blue sources and 5 red sources, or 3 red sources and 2 multi-source. The blue bottleneck could be significant if they have a number of blue cards in their hand. There's Discovery. Surveil 2, then draw a card. 3 mana available. They bin an island. They draw. They keep something on top. Another Sulfur Falls. Beacon Bolt hitting Rekindling Phoenix. They've cast enough spells now to get back a Phoenix, and now I think we see that Shock. Yep, we see the Shock. And they have an Arclight Phoenix, so they have a blocker for the Chainwhirler, so not quite dead. Our draw off the top is a Swamp. We do have 4 instants and sorceries in the graveyard, which means we can cast Dire Fleet Daredevil. And, well, there's a few ways to do this, but I like exiling Beacon Bolt, recasting it, killing off the Phoenix. We could have also Shocked Face, and then Chainwhirler ending the game. So we're up against Drakes, good old-fashioned Arclight Drakes. More Shivan Fires are good, just to make sure that the Electromancer doesn't get crazy. Is Legion Warboss good? Probably not. The deck does run Shock, after all. Duress is probably good, and Eldest Reborn is pretty good, especially when they sideboard into a Niv type deck. Once again, I think that we want Treasure Map after board over Rixmati Reveler, which is going to have a hard time attacking. Direfleet Daredevil is excellent in the matchup. Sass Statue is good. Like, a whole lot of removal. Lava Coil means that Find Finality is much worse, so that can go. Phoenix is good, but not against Lava Coil specifically. However, Siege Gang Commander's just... It's good against them, it's okay. Maybe I am supposed to cut down on the Rekindling Phoenix. If it lives, it's amazing. It's just whether or not it lives and what Lava Coil just wrecks it. But Siege Gang is against everything but good against everything but sweepers, and I don't feel like they saw Siege Gang, so they won't have a sweeper available. So we're going to lean on Siege Gang for our removal and cut out the Rekindling Phoenix, hopefully making their Lava Coils and Beacon Bolts worse. And then everything after that is like removal, 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 grind, 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 and then Eldest Reborn Siege Gang to win the game. We do have to beware of Spell Pierce. That is a main deck card for them. I imagine we will see more of it. This is another one of those hands. But with 2 removal spells, I think I hope to get there. Hope to get there. Hope to draw some lands and Treasure Map, hopefully. Our opponent mulls to 6. They look at their top card, they say go. Land off the top's exactly what we're looking for. Chart a course. Draw 2, discard 1. And the discard is Murmuring Mystic, which is a card that lines up pretty good against us. So... glad to see that one in the bin. On turn 2, there's nothing I need to play, so let's get a tap land done. Direfleet Daredevil. Yeah, Murmuring Mystic matches up really well. We might have to use Statue as a 4-mana, reach out and kill it, and the opponent discarding it there implies they could have another. So they discard a Shivan Fire with Tormenting Vice to draw 2. What is Shivan Fire doing in the deck? I'm not sure. We have the combo, Statue and Goblin Chainwhirler, therefore that's pretty good against Murmuring Mystic, so I'm going to hold it and say go. If I draw one more land off the top, Daredevil can exile a Charter Course Tormenting Voice, something I'd much rather do. The opponent may have cut Electromancer. Never mind, there it is. Electromancer has not been cut. Let's get rid of it right away, though. Let's not mess around with Electromancer. If they have another spell they want to cast Reduce, make them do it now. And Electromancer dead. Land off the top. Seems like a good time for a Direfleet Daredevil Charter Course, although I'm not sure what I'm discarding. I love my whole hand, so it's probably one of the cards off the top. We really want our 5th land to Siege Gang next turn. So with that in mind, it's Daredevil, Charter Course, discard one of the 2 cards, and hopefully keep a land. Now I am the Chart Courser. Course Charter. Well, we did not find land. We found another Lava Coil and a Duress. Duress is probably the keep. Although, if they just don't have Drakes, if we never let them have Drakes, Phoenix, or anything, isn't that just better than taking out their spells? I'm going to discard the Duress and just try to keep them from ever having a creature presence. And there's the long-awaited Opt that's been holding priority this whole time. But it's smart. I could have Direfleeted the Opt, which, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think I would have. I think I'd still rather Chart a Course. It's sort of the same effect, except something ends up in my graveyard. But I don't have Find Finality anymore, so it's basically a 1-mana, more expensive, same effect when you like your hand like I do. Discovery, a blue and a 1, surveil 2, then draw a card. Terramander to the graveyard, stayed in the deck. The opponent's having mana issues. There's no way to sugarcoat it. But I think I'm just chilling. I think I'm chilling on all this removal. There is another Electromancer. I'm kind of surprised they kept this, having been Shivan fired in the last game. And the Shivan firings will continue until morale improves. I usually cut Electromancer from my deck against anybody playing shock effects. So that's what the surprise is from me here. Here's a Daredevil. And now we drew the land. We'll pay 2 life for this. And here is Siege Gang Commander to turn up the heat and change the complexion of the game immediately. Now our opponent can't dirtle anymore. They have to act. And they play Murmuring Mystic. They say go. That won't do. Eldest Reborn, because they have no mana open, making them kill their Mystic. And also setting up Siege Gang, bringing back Siege Gang later for a reload. The opponent says good game. I think they're planning on leaving. So I'll send it back over. And there it is. Well then, is Jund Midrange Chainwhirler for real? 5-0 in traditional constructed, a variety of matches. The combo happened a few times. Felt like we were in nearly every game. A really good game win record too. I think we only lost like 2 games in the run. Well, I need that gold and I'll take those wild cards. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making this video for you. Thank you very much for watching. As always, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye. My YouTube channel is proudly supported by HauntedFlower.com, shipping officially licensed apparel anywhere in the world, and now featuring Magic the Gathering apparel and accessories. If you use the promo code CGB at your checkout, you can save 10% on any order. That's the promo code CGB at checkout on HauntedFlower.com. That's HauntedFlower.com.